the networking groups. It'll be the entrepreneurs meetup or whatever. These are not a good use of your time for the very fact that they let you join. Okay, that should be your first warning sign. If it's easy to get in, do you think that anyone worthwhile is going to be there? Are decision makers, guys with access to real money, going to be going to these networking groups? Fuck no. Not even close. These guys are getting hounded all day by hungry salesmen, and the last thing they want to do is go to a place where they're going to be subjected to more of the same. Okay, the truth is, you're not going to find successful guys at networking events. You're going to find other guys like you pretending to be successful, handing out 40 business cards a night with the tailored suit and the trendy haircut, projecting or trying to project an image of a guy who's successful and got a lot of things going and can talk a good game. The truth is, these guys are racking up the debt month by month, trying to maintain that image. And I know what I'm talking about because I was one of these guys with the suit and the haircut and the verbal game, and you're talking about everything's going great. You're in debt. Your bank account's depleted every month, and you're thinking, man, I just got it. You're putting on the brave face. You're selling it from top to bottom, but trust me, no good-looking guy who's well-dressed under 30 has any kind of money or any kind of connections unless he's a trust fund kid. He's just like you. He's acting the part, okay? It's the old guys in bad suits, with the Don Mattingly sideburns from 1987 halfway up their head, in the cop haircut, feathered back, that have money, okay? The guys who look like they're wearing a suit from 1987 because that's when they were young, and that's the programming they have, okay? Guys with real money usually don't dress very well because, one, they don't care, and two, they're too old to know what's fashionable, all right? A networking event is really just a bunch of striving losers selling each other on how successful they are, okay? If you've been there, I'm not trying to insult you. I mean, I've been there. I'm laughing about it, thinking about it now, because I didn't realize at the time. Every guy was just like me, trying to sell you on what he had going and seeing what you had, and no one has anything, okay? No young guys have any money, right? And you don't need to partner with another guy who doesn't have any money, all right? You need to find a guy with money, and you're not going to find him there. You're not going to find him at these networking groups, most likely, all right? Number 2, fellowship groups. So, like I said before, me and my sales buddy, back when I was in sales, decided, hey, if we can't beat them, we might as well join them. And we got ourselves initiated as Freemasons. I figured, okay, Illuminati connections, that's what it's going to take for me to get into the $300,000 range in sales and to get my, $300,000 in profit and get my book of business to the next level. And I was like, fuck it, I'll join up with these guys. That's how pissed off I was about not being successful. I was willing to join up with the Freemasons and be like, fuck it, I'm trying every avenue. I'm going hard. I'm banging the phone all day, trying to get richer, and I'm sick of it. Little do I realize you can't get rich as an employee, and most of the dreams that they sell you as a salesman are garbage. But at the time I figured, all right, if this is what it takes, this is going to get me to the next level, I'm going to go all in. Now, if we'd been willing to put in 10 years grinding, I'm sure we would have seen something. But, after 2 years, we realized we were getting nowhere. All we did was memorize words for the ritual and then initiate new guys who gave the organization money. And we realized we were just bitches, and we were going to be bitches for the next 10 years until we moved up into the master's chair, basically. And I guess that's when they sort of break things down for you. And, at the end of the day, we had a lot of time invested, a lot of money invested. Every month, every week, guys were asking me to memorize parts for the ritual, and that took up an extraordinary amount of time. Then you get the performance anxiety of performing the parts. It was a whole fucking thing. Now, at some of these lodges, there were some real hitters there, but directly pitching these guys for favors was very much frowned upon. You had to make a verbal agreement that you weren't there for any other reason except to learn about the organization. I mean, that was bullshit. Everyone was there because it helped their career to some way, but outwardly pitching and outwardly selling at the events was a no-no. That would get you kicked out, and we weren't going to do that anyways because the guys actually were super nice. It was mostly guys in their 50s and 60s. Some of them had real fucking money and some pretty high up positions, in the banks and stuff like that. But they certainly weren't sharing that with us. They were very nice. I can't say enough nice things about these guys. They treated you with an incredible amount of respect for, considering the differences between their positions in life and ours. It really was that kind of an organization. But, at the end of the day, it was a lot of time, it was a lot of money, and we just had enough after a couple of years. Same thing's going to go for your local church or your local synagogue or whatever you're into. I mean, sure, you might be able to work if you're willing to make it work. If you're willing to put 5 or 10 years in at a few meetings per week, but that's an expensive if. Okay, don't bother with these groups unless you actually like going to the meetings and you look at any benefits you might get from them as a bonus, because the time and the money that these things would take, again, much better to invest that into building your own business and selling your own business. Okay. Next one is clubs. A good example would be like the country club. You might have heard it said in some 30-year-old business book that the best deals are done over golf, and that you better learn how to play if you're serious about getting ahead. And maybe in the 1950s, that's what you had to do. If you're living in a small or mid-sized town, you got to join the local country club and you got to join the local church, and that's how you get clients. But in 2016, that's not the way to go. Now, it might be true that a lot of guys do business on the golf course. I'm sure a lot of the older guys do their business there, but they are not going to appreciate you, a young, hungry guy with no money, and maybe you're pitching your startup company that doesn't have any revenue, pulling up to the tee, trying to pitch these guys over golf. That's not how it works, okay? The truth is, you meet the guy at the golf club after you've met him somewhere else, and you accept his invitation to golf if he offers, okay? And that if he's taking you golfing, you're already on, good relationship footing, and you've sold him somewhere else, okay? I've never had any client or any guy in business and invite me out for golf. At the end of the day, it is not going to be worth it to join one of these clubs just for the networking purposes. My buddy back in Toronto has been a member of the most exclusive club for years. His parents are members. He's been a member his whole life, and he's never made a dime or a connection off of it. And he's had a sales-based business, but he was always, too embarrassed to sell that is apparently quite frowned upon at the club, just like it would be in the Freemasons. The old successful guys don't want to go to the country club where they relax and play golf and have some young, shameless dude come up to them and pitch them on whatever. Okay, my buddy goes to that club because he's a WASP and he likes doing white people things like sailing and playing squash with his white trust fund buddies. And the old guys with money usually stick to themselves. There'll be some polite small talk, but that's going to be about it. So much like these fellowship groups, maybe if you put in 5 to 10 years of getting to know these guys and really working them and really making them like you, you might be able to find some help. But again, unless you love going to the club, not the best use of your time and money. Next up, conferences. Now, conferences are actually the most useful thing on this list, but not if you're there to network. Okay? Between the guys who pay for the big booths and the speakers, there's if it's a big conference for your industry, there's actually going to be there's going to be decision makers there who can put money in your wallet, but it's not going to be from networking, okay? If you're going to the conference to network, you're doing it wrong. Networking means having pleasant conversations with non-decision makers in the hopes that something, sometime, somewhere, far off into the future is going to happen, okay? Instead, you're going to get 40 business cards from guys who aren't going to remember you the next day. I've been there. I've done it. It's a waste of time.